Live from Hollywood, California, VJ Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funnies, Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
On the rights, that's what's going on, everybody. I'm VJ Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny, and for VJ's on Sportsmanlike Conduct, man. New sports show that we're doing tonight. Got a lot of cool topics we're gonna bring to you guys. Just got off the air with the Break Room Breakdown podcast. Did about an hour and a half over there, and did another show earlier today. So now I finally get to my own damn show. Like, I get to talk about what I want to talk about. I don't have to answer nobody questions. I get to present myself the questions, and I get to say what I want to say, man. I'm opening up the call line tonight, man. If you guys are watching, you have anything you want to talk in sports. I don't care if you want to talk the NBA playoffs. I don't care if you want to talk the NFL draft. If you want to talk your team, what your team did, you want to get some stuff off your chest. I said something you didn't like. I said something that you like. I don't care if you want to talk badminton. I'll answer your question. I'll take a call. I don't care if you want to talk curling. And I like curling. Curling is the shit. Curling is really fun to watch. And I'll watch any country. I'll watch Bulgaria against Venezuela. Curling. 2:30 in the morning. 2:30 in the morning. I know people are like, what the hell are you doing? Sure, just watching this curling match. It's 5-4 right now. If you take out the 3-4 stone right there on the second circle, man, they might get this joint right here. I love me some curling. But anyway, man, 860-614-8257, man. You'll hear the phone ring. I got the loudspeaker on. Come on and jump in anytime. I'm decided that I'm not going to have an actual time that, let me see. Oh, my God. Contains content. So now I got to do my live again. Excuse me, guys. That's right here on Facebook. I got to do my live again because I guess I started with Metallica. All right. I told y'all they get mad at that, man. They'll cut you off. I'm like, damn, I thought I got 30 seconds. I thought the loss said 30 seconds. But anyway, man, 860-614-8257, man. I want to welcome everybody to Vesson Sports and Husky Bets. VJ's on Sportsmanlike Conduct, man. I'm your host, VJ Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funny, the Big Vanilla Sports Guru, the Big Vanilla Shaq, the Creamy Kobe, Blue Eye Barkley, VA's top talk point, Mr. Never Shut Up, and the Big Vanilla color card, because sometimes you got to play the color card in sports because they play it, so I got to play it back. I got to talk about it. If y'all going to put it out there, I got to talk about it. We saw a lot of that in the NFL draft this past weekend. Great draft. We'll get into all of that. We'll get to the NBA playoffs. Bucks up 1-0. I have Bucks and 6 in that series, and G-State Warriors champions. Like famous, man, doing what they did last night after losing Draymond in that game and getting that dub. We'll touch on that too, man. But I want to start tonight's show, and we'll be about an hour and a half. Y'all sit back, relax, man. If you're not doing anything, I know back on the East Coast it's just kissing midnight, so it's just kissing 12. Back east, yeah, there 11 minutes from 12 back east. But if you're out on the West Coast, beautiful, sunny, laid back, LA, California, on that, it's just touching 9 o'clock. About an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. We'll go live here on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio, Instagram, YouTube, and on Twitter. I want to start my show tonight with my opening rant about how fast things change in life. And things change fast in life. One day you're here, next day you're not. Think about all the sayings we come up with. Here the next minute, here 1 minute, gone the next. Here today, gone tomorrow. Always keep your options open. You die today, your job will be looking to replace you. To be holding interviews in 2 days to replace you. Things change fast in life. My daughter, Journey, right now, she's crawling at 5 months. She's just 6 months, and she's already starting to crawl. She's moving across the bed. She sees something she wants. She goes and gets it. That changed in like 4 days. 4 days ago, I could put her on the bed. She wasn't going anywhere. 2 days ago, we put her in the bed, run out the room, run back. She's moved halfway across a king-size bed because she saw something she wanted. Things in life change fast. My son Cameron, same thing with him. One day he's not saying one word, the next day he's saying a word. One day he's just saying A-B, next day he's saying A-B-C-D, and throwing the E in there, and throwing the fruit with it. A is for apple. He throw the apple with the A. I'm like, okay, bro, it's getting better. Things change fast. Right now, we have the NBA playoffs and we have the NFL draft this past weekend where things can change fast. You think you have all the answers. You think you know what this team's going to do. You think you know what this player is going to do. You think you know what this franchise is going to do and what this GM is looking at and who's going to go here and who's going to go there. And at the end of the day, it's all for fun and opinion. But, guys, we don't know shit, including me, Mr. Know-It-All, Big Virgo, the Big Vanilla Sports Guru, myself, 8515. I don't know nothing either. We can get some stuff right. That's why it's 85-15, because about 85% of the time I'm hitting on whatever out on the limb I'm doing. Low-hanging fruit's easy. I always go for the tangerine. You guys heard me use that analogy before. I want that tangerine that's high up on the tree. I want that tangerine up there. I don't want the one that I can get from the ground. I want a ladder to get my orange out the tree. No bugs, no spiders. Ain't nobody been touching on it. Them low-hanging when people been touching, squeezing on it, seeing if it's tender and juicy. And I don't want that when your hand's been on it. I'm a germaphobe. So I like out on the limb calls. And when you look at the NBA playoffs right now, you look at the NFL draft, I took just some serious out on the limb calls. But I think I'm going to cash in with some of these things. Husky Bets, new betting website coming to you guys, subscription. Y'all will see it, $49.99 a month. Or you can get yourself $3.99 for a year. All my picks, all my props, bets every single day. Moving forward, that should be up and running in about, I would say maybe June, July. Definitely by football season. But I want to get some baseball in there too. But we're looking at the playoffs. Hockey started the playoffs tonight. You have the NFL draft just cleared up this weekend where things are going to change fast. Some teams that were good last year won't be next year. Some teams that were bad next year going to be good next year. It changes in the year. Cincinnati just drafted number 1 overall 2 years ago. They were already in the Super Bowl. Same with Garoppolo in San Francisco. Same with Jared Goff in the LA Rams. Things change fast. In the NBA, just when we're talking about how great LeBron is still in, changes fast. He's home, not being mentioned. Nobody's talking about the Lakers. Good. He's not in the playoffs. Why are we talking about him? Why are we talking about his team? They're not in the playoffs. Let's talk about the team in the playoffs. Next up, greatest player on the planet. I love Kevin Durant, but we just watched Kevin Durant just get stymied and stoned in a playoff series. Not a game, not 2 games, in a playoff series and get swept and get ushered out. Is his time coming sooner than we thought? That changed real fast. Last year, he's a big toe in the line away from going to the conference finals and carrying that team without Kyrie with the hurt ankle and James Harden with the hamstring. Things change fast. The last few years, Boston's been in and out whether they were going to be good or not. I still stand on my opinion that I said even the year before the bubble, I thought Boston was going to take a dive. They were just going to start to regress. You're going to get to the playoffs. You're going to win 50-some games, but they'll never get back to the conference championship or the finals because they had their shot. Game 7 at home against the Cavs and LeBron, they couldn't close that game out. They're up in the 4th quarter, and it's been digressing ever since. I thought the same thing about the Seattle Seahawks. They went to back-to-back Super Bowls, but after that, you can just see. And guys, let's get real. They lose the Minnesota playoff game, and Minnesota doesn't miss a 27-yard field goal at the buzzer. They lose that playoff game. Regression. Things change fast. And we're talking about all these players. Well, Kawhi didn't play this year, and Steph, and I love Steph, but it changed really fast, guys, because the best player in the league is Giannis, the Greek freak. He's the best player in the league. That's how fast that conversation changed. And last night, I'm watching this game against Boston. Yesterday, I'm watching this game against Boston. Everybody's talking about Boston's defense. Do you guys realize that the Milwaukee Bucks have 3, count them, 1, 2, 3, they had 3 first team, all defensive player, past and present on their roster. You guys are talking about Boston's defense. Their defense is ranked very high. They have 3 first team defensive guys, probably one of the best, if the best, defensive guard that's been over the last 3-4 seasons on the perimeter. Holiday, Brook Lopez, a former defensive player of the year runner-up, and also first team defense multiple years. And Giannis' first time defense this year, last year. Everybody talked about Boston's defense. Guys, let me tell you something. This series is over, and I had the Bucks in 6, and I put 100 on the Bucks to come out of the East at a plus 750 back in March, the beginning of March. You can see how things were lining up, and I just took the money and took the numbers. I put it on Brooklyn, but Brooklyn just wasn't going to be healthy. And Kyrie still wasn't playing. I didn't want to trust my money over there. I don't believe in the Heat, and I didn't believe in the Bulls. And at that point, just to show you how long ago this was, at that point, the Bulls were like a plus 450, plus 475, but they failed tremendously. But I wasn't going to put it on the Bulls, too, until they fell and guys started getting hurt. Then Alonzo announced that Alonzo was out for the year. Like, no, they're not going anywhere. Now at their starting point guard, nobody goes anywhere without their starting point guard, especially when your starting point guard is a star-type player and does multiple things. Great on the defensive end, Lonzo's great. He's going to have a first-team all-defensive selection in his career. He's that good on the perimeter. But if you really looked at the series, the season and the standings at that time, I put my bread on Milwaukee. Number one, I always trust the champs until the champs prove me wrong. I'm like that in every sport. I'm going with the champs because if it comes down to the buzzer, if it comes down to the fourth quarter, if it comes down to the 8th or the 9th inning, if it comes down to the 5th set, if it comes down to the 18th hole, I'm going with the guy or gal who's been there and done this already. Simple. Now, if I lose, fine. But I'm going with the squad that's done this. That's not over the hill. The Bucks are still ascending. And I said this on multiple shows on multiple outlets, like I said, back in February and March. This series is 6 games. Jason Tatum, he is not the explosive, get in the paint against a good defensive team type player. He's a Euro step, creative type guy in the paint. You know, he can dunk and all, but he's not Ja Morant coming through the paint. He ain't Penny crossing somebody else, coming through the paint. Don't care if it's a 7-footer, pulling it cock back tomahawk style and banging on you. He's not that guy. Great player, great scorer, but he ain't that guy. That sweep of Brooklyn was what it was, okay? The sweep of Brooklyn was what it was. But also at the end of the day, the sweep of Brooklyn was a head coach that had been on that staff last year, no Joe Harris. You know, I'm not making excuses. I'm just giving you the facts. Joe Harris didn't play, okay? He was out. One of the top 5 3-point shooters in the league. That spreads the floor. They didn't have everybody spread the floor. Well, they had Curry. Curry's playing on a bad wheel. If it wasn't the playoffs, Curry wouldn't have played. Nothing that would shock me if they get sent home in 4 or 5. And I have Golden State in 4 or 5. Things changed fast. They were rolling. Everybody was loving it. It was off of the Spurs game, the big dunk, the catch from the inbound pass for Adam and the turn and the shot. And right then and there, prisoners of the moment like we are and what we do, he's the next this, he's the next that, he's the next great player. He is a really good player, guys, maybe even a great player. But at the end of the day, let's just keep it a buck. I've seen him before. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. I've seen him before. His name was Derrick Rose. His name was Penny Hardaway. I've seen this type of player. I've seen this type of guard come in the league and be exposed. Steve Francis, Baron Davis. Y'all, come on, don't play with me. Don't play with me. And I'm not saying that those guys were better or he's better, but I've seen him before. Point guard that's got an average jumper, so everything is explosive. He'll lead the league in points in the paint. He'll be in top 5 points in the paint. He'll have a young team around him. They'll get to the playoffs. They'll knock somebody out. And then for about the next 3 years, they're going to get sent home early. They're not getting to a conference finals. They don't have that type of team. Those guys are all role players. Dylan, Bane, all those guys are role players. The kid on the defensive end, first that people thought should have won Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, but you don't tell me he needs to score. You need to be focused on making him your franchise rim protector, rebounder, and block shot guy, and defensive stalwart on your team who don't care about his numbers. You still got to find Morant a number 2. Morant don't have a 2 right now. There's not a 2 on that team. Stop playing with me. There may not even be a 3 on that team. It's a bunch of role dudes, and they're good players. You don't win championships with them type of teams. You don't go to finals with them type of teams. Who else is an all-star? LeBron drugged the Cavs to a finals. Yeah, Gauskas was still an all-star, so he was still one of the best players in the league at his position. Maybe not the best, but he was an all-star. They didn't drag nobody. He was an all-star. AI dragged guys to the finals. Defensive Player of the Year, Mutombo. 6th Man of the Year, Aaron McKee. Coach of the Year, Larry Brown. MVP, Allen Iverson. It wasn't a bum-ass squad. Dikembe Mutombo's going to the Hall of Fame. Those are still some of his block. Yeah, he had good games against Shaq, where Shaq was complaining in the press. Don't just treat me like Sega and play me. One of his worst lines ever. Treat me like Sega and play me. Trying to say he was flopping, but Shaq was throwing bows. Man, we know Shaq was just dominant because he's just bigger and stronger and more explosive than everybody for about a 6-7 year run in the league. And out of those years, he got 4 championships. Out of that run, I would say 7 or 8 years, Shaq was just different, man. Shaq was just a different machine, not a different guy, not a different dude. Shaq was a different machine. If you ain't see that Shaq was stupid. But things changed fast because everything was supposed to be so good with Memphis. Everything was supposed to be so great with Morant. I've been saying all year long, it's not hate, and I've just seen it. Don't try to impress me with stuff that I've already seen. Football, baseball, basketball. Mike Trout, oh my God, one of the top 5'2" guys like ever. Like, dude, he's not Barry Bonds. Are you kidding me? He's not Ken Griffey Jr. He's not Willie Mays. He's not Babe Ruth. He's not even Babe Ruth. He's none of those guys. He's not, come on, stop playing with me, man. He's none of those dudes. We just always got to find somebody. You got to change the game. Steph Curry changed basketball, like globally. Michael Jordan changed basketball globally. Magic Johnson changed a position globally. Globally, people started saying, I want a 6'8" point guard. I want a 6'9" point guard. All right, well, he couldn't shoot. Tragic Johnson. Yeah, but I'm going to still get 4 MVPs or 3 MVPs, whatever it is, 5 championships. Revered in the city of angels, Hollywood, business world for the rest of my life because I was Tragic Johnson, 1 playoff series. But I changed the way you want your point guards to look and play. I changed it. Penny Hardaway came in. Everybody goes, there's the next Magic. Grant Hill came in. People was like, there's a Magic, but runs the point forward. They had Joe Dumars. They had Lindsey Hunter as young point guards, and Isaiah Thomas was on his way out of the door after he blown the Achilles. We get Grant Hill. He started kind of the point forward thing, and then you also still have Barkley and Pippen at the time that were like point forwards. I always tell people Karl Malone was great, but he never did anything himself. But when he added the mid-range little elbow jumper that he could hit, he could do that. But everything else is off of Stockton in the pick and roll. You give him the ball, say, go get me 10 straight right now. Go get me 8 or 12 right now. He still had to work off of pick and roll, and he was great at it. But Grant can take over a game and go get it for you. Barkley can take over a game, and I'm naming point forwards and go get it for you. And then Dirk came along at 7 feet as a point forward and can go get it for you or make a play for somebody else. Who did Malone ever make a play for? Who did Carmelo? Yeah, I know there's maybe like 40 or 50 out of a 20-year career. It's that one game, was that one less than one a year that he makes a play for someone, has a night where he's making plays for other people? No. Things change fast, guys. Giannis is taking over. We're watching it in front of our eyes. I was just on another show a minute ago, and I said, this is some Kobe or LeBron shit we watching right now, where I got one, and people are still questioning. Even though Kobe had 3 after Shaq, but after Shaq, people would say, oh, those are Shaq's rings and this and that, which we all know now after all the videos, all the sit-downs, all the documentaries. That was never the case with real Kobe guys like myself. Y'all see Kobe and Gian up in my home in the Vanilla Sports Bat Cave, so y'all already know how I gets down. Y'all see it right here behind my head. Where am I at? Boom. Kobe. Top 3 all time. I don't care who your 1 and 2 is, but I'm not letting y'all push Kobe out of top 3. I don't care if you want to do LeBron and Jordan. I got my own say on that. That's fine. But I don't care if that's where you're going. You're not putting Kobe down past 3. You're not putting him out of the top 5. And you're definitely not putting him out of the top 10. That's not happening. That's not even real. Stop it. Stop playing with me, man. But things change fast. Giannis is awesome. I'm going to prove to y'all. And last night, 24, 13, and 11. And it felt like he shot bad. He missed a lot of bunnies, a lot of layups. He missed like 7 shots in the paint. He easily could have had 40 last night. And they beat them by double digits. And you telling me Boston is actually going to win a championship, or this is a championship team? Not even close. They don't have a generational guy on their team, guys. Jason Tatum is a good player, a great player. He's not generational. I've seen Jason Tatum before. His name was Tracy McGrady. His name was Kerry Kittles. I've seen him before. What did Tracy ever win? And Tracy was a better player, more explosive, and a better scorer than Jason Tatum. Tracy McGrady got scoring titles. Jason Tatum don't have none of those. And he definitely isn't as explosive. So Boston, y'all can kill that, man. The Bucks are trying to prove that it's not a fluke. At the beginning of the year on my preview show, I had Bucks and Warriors in the finals. So that's what I'm gonna stick with, because I think I'm gonna cash that in. And I told you guys, $100 back at the end of February, beginning of March, on a plus 750 for the Bucks to come out of the Eastern Conference. That's almost gonna be $1,000 cash in. Cha-ching, cha-ching. All right. Moving on to the NFL draft. I haven't watched the 2 games that's on right now. You guys know I'm the king of DVR, so I'll watch them tonight once, the family go to bed, and I got my daddy hours on my daddy time, already sipping on my coffee, already staying up late, get ready to do shows tomorrow and some other business stuff, working on my website, Husky Bets. You guys look out for Husky Bets is coming. And then also have a meeting tomorrow with athletic director for my first high school to see if he will allow Vesson Sports to broadcast radio style on Spreaker.com their high school varsity football and basketball games. So got the sponsorship letter ready. Start handing out some businesses so I can start getting some of that money. Like, yeah, we'll do Joe Schmo's Subs and Pizza as presents Vesson Sports Friday Night Frenzy, Friday high school football in the CIF Southern Divisional in the Valley. So it'll be for a school right up the street. I don't want to say the school name because I don't want to curse it. Anyway. Moving on to the NFL draft. Speaking of things change very fast, a lot that I saw in the draft that I think is being overvalued. I thought the draft was great. Let me just say that. It's not just a football thing. I thought the draft was great because nobody really knew what the hell was going on and what the hell was going to happen. But there's some reaches and there's some things that I do want to talk about. Number one, I don't do draft grades. So let's get that straight right there. I don't do draft grades. I think they're stupid. I looked up some old draft grades. The year that Seattle Seahawks drafted Bobby Wagner, Russell Wilson, and Richard Sherman. You guys want to guess what their draft grade was from people? It was a D. And it went to 2 Super Bowls and 3 conference championship games with those guys, and somebody graded it a D. So I don't do draft grades. What I did do is the draft number that I pay attention to the most is the expectancy life of an NFL player is 3.5 years. Okay. So that means more than half of the first round will never make it out of their rookie contract. So what I did is I threw down 13, because it's really the math is kind of 13 of the 32. So at least 17 guys that aren't going to make it. So I did a list of names where my daughter is going off right now. Do y'all hear that? Do y'all hear my daughter? I don't want to pause my show, but my daughter is going off right now. I don't like that. I hate to hear her scream like that. It's like whatever she needs, pick her up or do whatever you need to do to get my daughter from screaming. Like, anyway, let me zen back in and refocus. I don't like her screaming. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I can hear it. Anyway, what I did is I took 13 guys that I think are surefire. I think they're surefire hit. I don't think that, they would have to have a catastrophic injury for them not to pan out. Then I just took guys that I just don't think will pan out. And then I have some up in the air guys. So the guys that I think will work, the guys that I think will work just fine is Aiden Hutchinson with the Lions. I'm sorry, guys. I listen. I'm gonna just cut my screen real quick. Don't go nowhere, guys. Please don't go nowhere. Let me just stop my camera. I gotta go check on my little one. Hold on, y'all. I know y'all see me here. Y'all know how it is, man. Y'all know how it is when you're a dad. Hold on one second. Oh boy! All right, I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. My bad, man. I know that is mad unprofessional, but you guys see my pictures. If you guys follow me, you guys have seen my social media, and you guys know who Journey is, my daughter. When I hear her screaming like that, I that don't sit well with me at all. Pick her, do whatever's gotta be. Let's get that. Crying is different than screaming their damn head off. So that I always try to, I'm a soft dad. So anyway, I looked at 13 guys I thought were perfect for their teams, perfect for the situation. Then I looked at it and I saw the other 17. And then, like I said, I got some up in the air guys too. So guys that I think are just can't miss guys. They're gonna pan out. They're gonna be great. Number one, Aiden Hutchinson. It's in his blood. It's in his DNA. Yes, that's some Michigan love there too. But you guys seen all the tape. You've seen him go against the Wisconsin tackles that were taken, the Purdue tackles that were taken, the Michigan State tackle that was taken. There was the Ohio State guys that were taken. They all, you heard during the draft, they're like, well, he struggled against Aiden Hutchinson, but they all did. And these guys were drafted in the top 3 rounds too. They all struggled against Aiden Hutchinson. So he just can't miss. Even being with the Lions, he'll still do his part. He doesn't have to play quarterback and play receiver, and they'll probably be bad for a while with him there. And he could be forgotten about and be a lost guy, but I do think he'll put up some stupid, crazy numbers. He'll make some Pro Bowls. I hate that he's with the Lions, but he is surefire, can't miss. The next guy I had was Stingley Jr. DB out of LSU. It's just DBU. I trust it. I trust the defensive backs that come from there. And I think he's surefire. His size, if he can stay healthy, he's got the injury concerns, but he's just really not concerns. He's coming just off of an injury. Guys get injured in the NFL all the time. It just is what it is in football. And like I said, I just think he's surefire. It's with Houston, but he'll be able to lock down some of the receivers from the Colts and the Jaguars and the Titans too, especially with him and Trayvon Burks. They went up against each other in the SEC. We get some more of that in the NFL. The next one was Kayvon Thibodeau. This is a little bit of a heart pick here too, because I know the kid, covered him in high school out here, called his games. Remember his last game he would have played, state semifinal game. He got suspended for, I guess, saying a bad word on the sideline, and the ref heard him. But there were some people that were always out to get this kid because he was just that dominant and get him out of that championship game, semifinal game against John Bosco. DJ Uiagalelei was the quarterback of that team, and he had all day to throw the ball. They couldn't run the football because Oaks Christian had a great front seven, but they didn't have that pass rush from Kayvon, and Kayvon was the number 1 ranked player in high school coming out that year that decided to go to Oregon, turn everybody down. Everybody wanted him. Clemson, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Kirby Smart, Jim Harbaugh. Everybody wanted him. He was that good. And it's just his pedigree, man. He's got the body. He's got the size. He's also a businessman. So I like that part of him. I think at first, when they didn't play the bowl game, it did rub me a certain way. But with NIL, and people have to realize that it's different now. And teams are going to have to adjust. You're going to have to adjust how you talk to a kid that comes and sits in front of you at the combine that's already got $300,000 in the bank because he's got an NIL deal. Bryce Young already has $1 million, guys. And he's a different cut kind of kid. But all these players are going to come in and just bow down and just bow down. Thanks, Luis. Luis said family first. Appreciate you, bro. But these kids are just not all going to come in and bow down to these owners and try to give every correct answer they possibly can. They're going to have to adjust. They're going to have to change and the way they talk to some of these kids, and then the way they take away their personality. Because you had all these things about Kayvon was his personality, or it rubs people wrong. Why? Because he's not kissing your ass. Because he's not shucking and jiving. Because he's not playing the game for you. You don't have to. I'm gonna go get the quarterback. Okay, this is what I do. But I don't have to come in here and kiss y'all ass. I'm already making money. If y'all don't want to take me, somebody's taking me. I'm going in the top 5, and I'm signing a top 5 contract as far as my rookie deal. Play hard for 2 years, man. Going into that 3rd year, tell them you want a new deal. Listen, I've outplayed this contract. I want a new deal. And we see pass rushers come in and been able to do that. Evan Neal, I think, also is just can't miss. Just put him at the left side, 10 years. I know Alabama linemen have some type of myth that gets them, but there's some Alabama linemen that have worked out. The defensive linemen are the ones I worry about. Every year they got all these great defensive linemen. The defensive linemen are the ones that don't stick around in the NFL. Linebackers and corners and their receivers are freaking great, but there's been some questions about their defensive line. I don't know about offensive line. Ekwonu, the Nigerian offensive tackle from NC State. He's just can't miss. Large human being, very large man, work ethic. And I'm not even going to preface that. I'll just say what I say. When you get some of these international born players who are not Americanized and make it to pro sports level, they're hard workers because that's really all they know. And what they have to go back to is so much worse than what we would have to go back to for certain countries, not every country. By Nigerian-born, Nigerian-raised parents, they have a very moral work ethic, hardcore work ethic about them. And normally those players do pan out, especially in football, and they just built different, man. Y'all know how true Nigerians, Ghana, African nation countries, how different. It's just like guys that I used to lift weights with that were Polish. They were just built differently. Austrians, Germans, they're thicker, it's the weather, it's what you eat, it's what you drink, it's all of that, man. So I think he has that in him. I think he's can't miss. Trent McDuffie, the defensive back from Washington, I just think he's can't miss. Washington put another defensive back in the league. Buda Baker is from Washington. Like that secondary, it puts some product. It puts some guys in the NFL who are playing really well and really making a name for themselves. Tyler Linderbaum from Iowa. Enough said. From Iowa. They don't have offensive linemen who fail. That's like an offensive lineman from Wisconsin. They just don't fail. So I think he was can't miss. Devin Lloyd, linebacker from Utah. I just feel he's can't miss. The guy you put the tape on, being in the Pac-10 area and watch a lot of Pac-10 games, Pac-12, area and watch a lot of Pac-12 games out here. The one thing that I've seen is a lot of Utah football. And every Utah game I watch, he is easily, I would say, mentioned in every other play. He is easily mentioned in every other play when I watch Utah football. That kid is all over the field, can stop the run, can cover, can rush the passer, heart and soul of that team. I was surprised he fell the way he fell, but I think he's going to work well with Jacksonville, but I think he's can't miss. Dax Hill, they went to Cincinnati from Michigan. I think he's can't miss because they already have a good defense. He's already slated at the second string of the second safety. I think he'll overtake the start position there soon, but you're in a division that's hard-nosed. You better be able to cover. You better be able to wrap up and hit and tackle. That's why the Ravens went and got Hamilton. I also thought that was a can't miss. I thought that was a can't miss product. Also, too, Hamilton, the defensive back from Notre Dame that went to the Ravens. But back to Dax Hill, he plays that Viper position in Michigan. Doesn't have to come far. He doesn't mind playing in cold weather. Doesn't mind playing physical football. You got to be physical if you're going to play for hardball. You're going to play in the Big Ten where you're tackling these big running backs and these big tight ends and you're blitzing. So you're trying to get by big linemen because Iowa, Northwestern, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, Michigan all have these linemen that go into the league and become all pro and Pro Bowl type players. So he went against that every week. And also, too, that brings you to the kid from Purdue that Kansas City took, Karlaftis. And I like this kid because, once again, he's played against really good and great competition. I said the same thing about Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern last year, the offensive tackle that ended up going to the Chargers. I love that pick so much because I like you have to have smart football players. You got big, fast, strong, athletic, showy, big arm, all of that stuff, all the attributes, but you better be able to have a kid who can think and that's smart. And when you get Northwestern linemen Number one, it's a hard school to get into. They don't do favors to the athletes. There's like a Vanderbilt or Stanford or Notre Dame. Ain't no favors done, man. You either make the grade or you don't. That's why those schools don't always get the top kids. It's hard to get in. It's still Big Ten. They can make that place a big time program. We've seen it at Purdue. You don't need a 100,000 seat stadium to make it big time. It's nice that it's at Alabama and LSU and Tennessee and Michigan and Ohio State. 85, 90,000, 100,000, 87,000, 89,000. Florida, 88,000. That's nice. But we've seen smaller stadiums have runs. I mean, if you go to Iowa's not huge, but it's great atmosphere, man. They're good every damn year. They may have one down year every decade, every 8-9 years, but Kirk Ferentz has those guys ready to play. But Northwestern, they go against all of that. He goes against all of that. He goes against all the big pass rushers from the big schools that get drafted in the first and second round. Rashawn Slater did, but I felt that way about Karlaftis. He rushed against all the big tackles and guards that got drafted this year. So I think that was a great fit, and I think he's a can't-miss kid. I think he'll be fine in Kansas City. Kansas City, Andy Reid rarely misses on draft picks. Like big names we know, every 6th, 7th, 5th rounder sometimes doesn't work out, but his first, second, third, and fourth guys pretty much he pretty much nails those over time and over his history. Guys that I don't like, that I just don't think will pan out, I have reasons for him. Jordan Davis, defensive tackle to Georgia, is weight. It's just he's got to lose a lot of weight. I honestly, truly believe that he weighs himself out of the league sooner or later. He was on and off the field in the college playoff game, national championship game, huffing and puffing. I mean, like fighting for air. By the time you get to that point in your college career, haven't you worked enough and worked that off yet? He's lucky he played with so many of the great defenders on that team. Also, too, the Pats pick, Cole Strange from Chattanooga. He had a 3rd-round pick. Who's he blocking playing at Chattanooga? You're coming into the AFC East. Bills defense twice, Jets defense twice, and the Jets have Lawrence Johnson out of Florida State. So now you got to deal with that kid. You got to deal with Miami's defense. You got to deal with Agba. You got to deal with those rush ends there. You got to deal with those blitzing linebackers there. Good luck. Good luck with that pick there. Also, too, I'm sorry, Jermaine Johnson is the guy name, not Lawrence, not Jermaine, not Johnson, Lawrence, or Jermaine Lawrence, whatever just said. Jermaine Johnson, the second, Florida State. He is a guy who I think will make an impact, but I just don't know if he'll last because he was just so much of a one-hit wonder, and I think that's why he slipped and fell. And the Jets came back up to get him into the first round, which I thought was a great move, but I thought maybe they might have been a different guy they could have came up and got. I might have went linebacker, and Devin Lloyd was still available there. Tyler Smith, the Tulsa pad, the kid from Tulsa that Dallas took, I just put the tape on. He just doesn't jump off the tape to me. And I think Dallas needs guys. Dallas is a franchise. You got to come in and impact now. They're going on 20 years without a playoff win. It's getting, and they got great players. But you have to start drafting guys that can come in and make. I know Jerry went away from the sexy pick for a while and built that line that had DeMarco Murray lead the league for 1,800 yards. I remember that. But at the end of the day, now you got to start to get some of these playmakers back in. Zeke got his money. He's not the same. I said that on Fox Sports Radio on the Odd Couple with Chris Broussard 4 years ago. You pay him. I'm telling you, pay that kid. And that's why I got some of these other guys on the list. So I'll jump right to those guys too, man. Garrett Wilson and Olave, just the simple fact that they're Ohio State receivers. I just don't think they're paying out. Here's the Ohio State receivers. You guys are going to love this. I went and looked this up, man. Off the top of my head, I knew a lot of these names, but I went and looked at the numbers, okay? Since 1997, these have been the first, second, or third round Ohio receiver. Boston in 97, Jenkins in 04, Santonio Holmes in 06, Tegan Jr. in 07, Gonzalez in 07, Hartline in 07, Devin Smith in 2010, Michael Thomas in 16, Curtis Samuel in 17, Paris Campbell in 19. Now, at the top of our head, we all know Michael Thomas is the best of those because he had the back-to-back years of 125, 148 as far as catches, 1405 and 1725, okay? Now, listen to the numbers for the rest of these Ohio State receivers that were drafted early. David Boston, his career, 4,700 yards. Jenkins in 04 of his career, 44 yards, 25 touchdowns on 53 balls was his best season. Santonio Holmes, even when I thought that, I said, well, nah, his number should be better. He had 1,000 yards season, guys. 6,000 yards, 36 touchdowns. That's it. And he went to the Jets. When the Jets were good, he just was never a main guy there, but former first-round overall pick. No Pro Bowls also, too, by the way, for San Antonio. Gonzalez, he went number 32 to the Colts. Remember that guy? Throwing to him, named Peyton Manning. Yeah, he had him. Didn't work out. 12 starts, 99 catches, 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's not in one season. Think about it. Listen to those numbers. That's like somebody's season, right? 99 catches, 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns. That's not a season. He did that in 40 games. That's almost 3 seasons. Brian Hartline, we're going to talk about him. 47-66, only 14 touchdowns in his career. Devin Smith, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns in his career. Michael Thomas, we already know about. Curtis Samuel, who stole money from the Redskins, 21-14. He had 0 seasons of more than 900 receiving yards, so no 1,000-yard seasons, 14 touchdowns. Paris Campbell, second round, drafted number 59th and the 19th in 2019, 34 catches, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns. Show me the Ohio State receiver. I know the names are pretty, and I know it looks good in college, but it was the same with the quarterback, and we don't want to talk about the one that just passed. I'm not going to bring his name up, but when he was coming out of there, he broke a lot of records, and people thought he was going to be great, and I said, nah, just show me the Ohio State quarterback. It's like Alabama quarterbacks, right? Show me the Ohio State quarterback. Show me the Alabama quarterback that's coming to the league and rip shit up. Just go show me who it is. Nick Saban. I'll give you Nick Saban. LSU? Nope. Michigan State? Nope. Alabama? Well, you better hope Tua or Jalen Hurts or Mac Jones work out. These 3 right here all came in again. Tua came in year before them, but you better hope these 3 work out because these are your 3 you kind of got left. Bryce Young's coming in. I love Bryce. I call Bryce Young's high school games from modern day out here also, but he is slight. He is slight of build. He's not a big guy. He's a lot like Pat White, but he throws much better than Pat White. Pat White was a better runner, but he throws much better than Pat White, so he doesn't have to run for his life and get crushed in the NFL the way Pat White did. I remember when Pat White took that hit in that one game that you can just see his career was over. His career was over. That was crazy. So when I look at their receivers, Garrett Wilson, yeah. I look at Chris Olave, and then at the Jets with Garrett Wilson, you still have Zach Miller. Olave might be better down in New Orleans, but you got James. I just don't see it panning out. Neither one of those guys. Also, another one, Sauce Gardner. I just don't see it. In the AAC, not the ACC, in the AAC, there was only one viable NFL talent receiver he covered. Oh, sorry, he didn't cover him. Memphis didn't play Tennessee. This kid got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers at number 138. Calvin Austin II. 5'9", 162. Sauce Gardner is 6'3", 200 pounds. If he did cover him, it would have been an unfair fight. It would have been an unfair fight. 5'9", 162, 6'3", 200 pounds. Got him about 40 pounds. Got him about 4 inches. It's an unfair fight. So that's how I did my first round is I picked 13 guys I think are surefire. Aiden Hutchinson, Stingley Jr., Kayvon, Evan Neal, Iquanu, McDuffie, Quay Walker, Tyler Linderbaum. I love Dex Hill, Karlaftis from Purdue, and Devin Lloyd. I think those are guys that surefire can't miss. Guys I think that just won't work out and won't pan out. They may get a second contract somewhere, but it's not going to be the career that a first-round draft pick should have. Jordan Davis, Cole Stern, Jermaine Johnson, Tyler Smith, Trayvon Walker. I just thought Jacksonville screwed that up. The best player, definitely the best defensive player in the draft was Aiden Hutchinson. He took a guy on potential number 1 overall. It's too much Javani Clowney to me. And I remember when I used to say that, oh, you're hating. No, they just showed that Michigan hit on Devin Smith over and 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 over until it made him a number 1 pick. But if you go put on the tape for the rest of that game, Taylor Lewan was eating his ass alive. He was eating Javani Clowney up. He blocked him the rest of that game. And if you guys remember, Taylor Lewan went number 4 overall to the Oilers and automatically was a perennial Pro Bowler and all-pro left tackle. So, and nasty too. Nasty blocker. Reminds me of the 90s guys, man. Hutchison and Backus and Remusma and my John Runyon. Those offensive linemen back in the day, man, in Michigan. Woo, you see the smile came on my face. I'll tell you something too. Also, too, first round, the reason why I don't like giving draft grades, because if you look at former number 1s from the year 2000, 16 have been quarterbacks. No quarterback went in this one. 5 have been defensive ends. Here are the defensive ends that have gone number 1 overall. Brown, Mario Williams, and that's Courtney Brown, Cleveland, Mario Williams, the Texans, Javani Clowney, and Myles Garrett. There's only one guy that was really transcending for his franchise, and that's Myles Garrett. Clowney was already out of there before he can really get his career going. He made, I think, back-to-back or some early Pro Bowls, but he didn't affect the team. At least when J.J. Watt was there doing his thing, J.J. Watt actually affected the team, and they got the playoff games. They didn't do none of that with Javanian Clowney there. So it almost shows, and also, too, out of the first-round draft picks, number one overall draft picks since 2000, only 3 of them won the Super Bowl. Eli, Eric Fisher, Matt Stafford. Those are the only guys that have been drafted that high, number one overall, and actually have a Super Bowl to their name. So when you go back and look at the first round, the league expectancy is only 3.5 years. Less than half are going to work out. So you got to find 13 guys that you say, okay, that guy's going to be well. That guy's going to do great things in the league. He's surefire. Then you got to point out some of the guys where you're like, nope. Another reason why I don't like doing draft grades, I also looked up something too. I remember in 1992, that was supposed to be like the superior draft, the superior players. They only had 26 Pro Bowlers. They only had first rounders that went to the Pro Bowl, 11. But some names in that draft class: Jimmy Smith, Darren Woodson, Troy Vincent, but Steve Edmond, Brad Johnson, Jeff Blake, Tommy Maddox, Dave Klingler. Like when those guys are coming in the league, people thought, oh man, Dave Klingler, like, big arm. Yeah, okay. Jeff George, big arm. Yeah, okay. But when you look at the first round, you can't, all these guys aren't going to pan out. So you have to be able to dig. You have to be able to dig into it and figure out who's going to pan out, who's not. What I also came up with some value picks. I thought in the first round, the best value pick was Daxton Hill from Cincinnati. Now, here's the thing. Their defense is only giving up 21 game, but I think he can play that Viper position. Their turnover differential was even. They were even at 0-0, 13 interceptions, 8 fumbles. So I think you bring him in. You bring in a young player, a young rookie to help raise those turnover numbers and improve the defense, even though the defense was fine. It was the offensive line that was terrible, but they addressed that through free agency. 3 teams I thought made matches made in heaven, all traded first-round picks. First was the Raiders. They traded their first-round pick for Devontae Adams. There wasn't a receiver in this league that they were going to, in this draft, that they were going to get that's going to be better than Devontae Adams anyway. Yeah, I know we don't know, but you don't know, so therefore, let me go trade that pick and get Devontae Adams. My Dolphins, Tyreek Hill. The Chiefs got the picks and used one of those picks. They had 2 first-round picks. Miami wasn't going to get one of these guys at 28. Okay, so let's go get a guy now. So this is essentially our first-round pick. This year was Tariq Evans, Raiders' first-round pick with Devontae Adams, and then the Eagles. Making the move to get A.J. Brown was magnificent. That was a magnificent move by that front office, and they used basically a first-round pick to do that. They looked at the receivers. We spent one on a rookie last year, and we got Devontae Smith, almost had 1,000 yards. But, let's get a vet in here. Let's get a big boy in here, get a vet in here to go with this white Goddard, the tight end, and go with the running backs, Miles Sanders, and those guys that can run hard and catch the ball out of the backfield. And let's give Jalen Hurts some weapons here, just like let's add to the weapons for Carr, and let's give Tua some weapons here with Tariq. I thought those were matches made in heaven because I looked down the list. The only other closest one I could think is Hamilton, the defensive back, the safety from Notre Dame to the Ravens, and Willis, the quarterback from Liberty, going to Tennessee. I said last week before the draft, before anybody on any social media, TV, radio said it, my comparison for him was Steve McNair, and he goes to Tennessee where Steve McNair was. Guys, you guys could talk Liberty University all you want to. They said the same thing about Steve McNair, and he was a yard away from winning the Super Bowl with that team and Eddie George, and his best receiver being Dyson. Dyson was like his best receiver. It took a throwback. Was it Frank Wycheck, the Music City Miracle, to get there, man? But he was the catalyst of it, man, because he was just so tough. Remember, he was so banged up and so beat up. He didn't practice all week, but he just played every week and still was carrying them to playoffs. Biggest reach, I thought the Patriots reaching for Strange out of Chattanooga was huge. I thought Sauce going to the Jets at number 3. Like I said, the only guy he would have covered worth a rip would have been Austin II, kid out of Memphis, but they didn't even play Memphis. But he's also a kid who just eclipsed 1,000 yards playing in Memphis. And, I'm just trying to figure out who you covered when I look at why they took him so high. If I'm the Jets and the Giants, my prediction was whatever their first pick is, the second pick should be that. They both had 2 picks in the top 10. So if you go defense again. If you go offense again. Get like a portion of your field solidified. Even if you went 2 receivers. Even if you went linebacker, DN, or corner, linebacker, or corner, rush in. All right, do that. so you can solidify an area of your, not just a position. If you get a linebacker and you get a DN, rush DN, in the top 10, they're probably going to be 2, according to the numbers, they could be 2 to 13 that's going to pan out for you. If that's the case, get that and knock that little section of your defense down. You can move your linebacker. You can move your D lineman. So now wherever these 2 guys go and line up, you got to really pay attention. And if you ever split them, put defensive end over here, put the star linebacker over here, as time goes on and they get better, now the offense's head is everywhere. You don't know where the power's coming from. So I thought that's what the Giants or the Jets should have done. Attack the same side of the ball with both picks. And neither one of them did it, even though I like the Giant picks. You get Neal and you get Thibodeau. But imagine if you got Thibodeau and then you added a tough linebacker, like you added a star linebacker right there, or one of the corners. The corners went early. The other, how about 2 rush guys? If you're going to do that, get bookends. No one's ever going to complain and cry about that. Biggest slides and biggest steals. I like the word steal instead of slides because steals, I thought these guys are steals. Kobe Dean, there's the injury with the torn muscle that he didn't have to have surgery. They said it would heal by itself. Malik Willis, we already spoke about that. Devin Lloyd, we already spoke about him. Same thing with Devin Lloyd. I thought the Jets, Giants, Washington, and the bum-ass Jets again with those 2 picks could have used them. With Malik Willis, I thought the Lions, Seattle, Atlanta, they all could have used that kid, man. He's going to make those guys pay. Draft winners, I still think with the Dolphins and the Raiders because they used their first-round picks for 2 of the top receivers, if not the 2 best receivers in the league. DeAndre's gone for 6 games. He got busted with PEDs today. But the Raiders, Zamir White, the running back out of Georgia, the Dolphins, Channing Tindall, the linebacker out of Georgia. And they both picked to the 3rd round, pick 90, pick 102. With getting those receivers, you give up, but then your second pick was still 2 prime players that a lot of teams like and that a lot of teams even want to maneuver around for. Another surprise pick I thought was a reach. The Niners take Teron Davis-Price at 93, but he was ranked overall at 276. That's almost 200 spots of your rank. And I know rankings or whatever, and maybe you like him, but the Florida game, I get it. 3 touchdowns, 285, but he only ran for 1,003 yards on 211 carries, 6 touchdowns, and 79 catches. But that means if you take away the Florida game, he only ran for 718. That's 59.8 per game. Even though he had 4 100-yard games, he had games of 30, 51, 52, 53, 82, 84. So for them to get a guy like that, and a lot of people thought he would be a free agent signing once the draft was over and go undrafted and then pick a team. So then he was another player that I thought slipped. And I got so many notes here, and I could just go down the list, but I don't want to bore you guys. The draft's a lot. The draft's a lot. And I got so many things and so many notes that I would love to go to, but I don't want to go too long today, man. Plus, I gotta go check on my baby girl. Also, Malik Willis. I want to put this out there too, because I know people love to use that where he played at Liberty, but he was also at Auburn. Recruited. He was a 3-star at a .8857. In Georgia, he was the 35th ranked player. He was the 21st ranked athlete at quarterback. He was the 368th nationally ranked player. He also transferred. He went to 3 different schools. So it was hard for teams to kind of keep up with him, and he lost traction that way. High school class of 2017, guys. Here are the top 30 quarterbacks that were in that class. Tate Martel, you guys remember him? Went to Ohio State, couldn't cut it, got beat out twice. Went to Miami, couldn't cut it, got beat out. Now he's out at UNLV or Nevada. So one of those schools. I think he's at UNLV, and he's got to fight for the position there. Tua, we already know what's going on there. Kellen Mond. You guys remember Kellen Mond from Texas A&M? Remember that guy playing in the SEC? It's going to be great. It's going to be good. They're average, back up in the NFL. But is he really that good? Is he much better than Malik Willis? We'll see. Sam Ehlinger, Texas, 4-year started as a true freshman. Grew up being a Texas fan, going to the games, got the little baby pictures of him wearing the Texas hat, the Texas jersey, and throwing up the Longhorns and all of that good shit. Yeah, that's cool. He's backing up Matt Ryan now. He got hurt last year. He was backing up Carlton Wentz in Indiana. Now he's backing up Matt Ryan. Dylan McCaffrey. Y'all know that last name, McCaffrey? That last name rings bells. That last name rings some weight. It's in the blood, man. It's in the DNA. He's up at Michigan. He can't beat out freshmen coming in. He couldn't beat out McCaffrey coming in. McCaffrey got on the field before Dylan McCaffrey did. Mac Jones, well, he played at Alabama, so we get it. And also a quarterback that was drafted this year who was ranked number 48 in class of 2017, Malik Willis, Kyle Pickett, who went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is who he was in competition with coming out of high school. Tell me how many you got on these lists that you think are going to be far better than Malik Willis in their career. Tate Martel? No. Kellen Mond? No. Dylan McCaffrey? No. Sam Ehlinger? No. There's 5 of the guys right there. Matt, he got to a playoff up in the air. Tua, we'll see what he do with his weapons. Kyle, we'll see what he do. But I just wanted to point that out, man, for the people that are talking about Malik Willis. I mean, you know, I got the y'all see it right there, man. I got the stats. I got the shit right there. It's all right there. I mean, we'll see. For everybody that's supposed to be so much better than him, man. Let's see what else we got right here. My win surprised me and I love to admit when I'm ever wrong, and that's fine. But I did these predictions before the draft, and some came through and some didn't. My first one was Minnesota reaches for a defender. They didn't. They traded back. I thought the bum-ass Jets would blow both picks. I think they did, so I got that one. I thought 2 QBs would go before the 8th pick. Neither did. Got that one wrong. Dallas trades up for a receiver. So does Philly. I got the Philly one right, but not Dallas. And I had Kayvon Thibodeau fall in 4 to 5 spots. If you had him with number 1 or number 2 overall, 4 to 5 spots puts him at number 5. And also, too, there was another one, too. Oh, I love this stat right here. I want to tell you guys, too. Only 11 teams have more than 10 playoff wins, guys, over history. Okay? 11 teams have less than 5. Excuse me, since 2000. 11 teams have less than 5. The less than 5 teams, Texas, Vegas, Bills, Bears, Bengals, Jags, Dallas, Miami, Washington, Cleveland, Detroit. You know what's in common with all those teams? They were all still trying to find a quarterback. Tell me who the Texans quarterbacks have been. Tell me who the Bears quarterbacks have been since 10,000. The Bengals, the Jags, Dallas, Miami, Cleveland, Washington, Detroit, the Bills. Who the quarterbacks been since 2000? All those teams have less than 5 playoff wins in the last 22 years. Says a lot, man. So, wrap up tonight's show, man. I appreciate you guys tuning in. VJ's on Sportsmanlike Conduct. I apologize. I did have to step away, but my new daddy sense is like Spider-Man. I hear my daughter crying. I hear my son crying. It's not about the cry. When I hear them screaming, I am there. And it just is what it is, man. I don't mean no harm. So, love you guys, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Don't forget, guys, keep up with me on my social media. You guys can find me on the Big Vanilla Funny on Instagram. I am on Husky ENT, capital H, Huskey, capital ENT, lowercase, case sensitive, on Twitter. Husky Bets, Vesta Sports on YouTube. You guys that are watching here right now, anyway, know where it is. And then also VJ's on Sportsmanlike Conduct is coming back next week, 5 days a week. Back on Spreaker. Something happened to my station over there, and I had to really tend to it today and fix some things, but I got it all set up. Plus, I want to sign a new contract myself to get back on track doing radio every day until everything comes together for Vesta Sports. So, that's it for me tonight, man. I appreciate all you guys tuning in on all my social media platforms. Y'all stay blessed, man. I'll holler at you guys.